Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. I'm recording this on Monday night, March 10th, and there's been a lot of things going on in the EV space. I wanted to talk about it. Most interestingly, is what's been happening with Tesla. Tesla, of course, is the 900-pound gorilla of the EV world and has lately been on a tear. Well, until recently, has been on a tear. Their stock price surged in November. After Elon Musk supported Trump's presidency. Trump won, and everyone took that as a good sign for Tesla, and their stock skyrocketed. Today, it went down 15%, and then in after-hour trainings went down another 3.2%. Their current stock price in aftermarket trading is 215. The last time, I mean, if you go back to 215, last time it was at 215, you could go all the way back to 2020 and December of 2020, and that's when they were around 215. So it's been up and down. There was this huge run up. So like here's November, 3rd, November 4th, huge run up, and then this pretty precipitous decline. This is most likely because the target demographic for Tesla's customer base has been mostly alienated by the political activities of their CEO, Elon Musk. Now, it turns out that that EV buyers tend to be more liberal, and then on the conservative side, the conservative media has been bashing EVs fairly regularly as non-environmentally friendly, unsustainable, makes no sense. So this has been a big talking point on the conservative side. So generally, the conservative side of the U.S. political spectrum does not buy EVs at the same rate as the more progressive or liberal side. So Tesla sales are in serious decline, not just in the U.S. but worldwide. In China, Tesla has to compete with Chinese EVs, and in many respects, Chinese EVs are far ahead of Western EVs, including Tesla, in terms of price and features. And so their sales are down 49% in China. Their sales are down 76% in Germany and 75% in Spain, 72% in Australia, and 45% in Europe as a whole. In the US, Tesla sales are down about 11%. Now, the sales decline in the US is significantly less than the sales decline in Europe and Australia and China, mainly because in Europe, Australia, and China, there is competition from Chinese EVs. There is no such competition from Chinese EVs in the US, as the US has a 100% tariff on Chinese EVs, making Chinese EVs kind of it's hard for them to compete with a 100% tariff. However, they have smaller tariffs in those other countries, and Tesla is having to compete with them. Also, the Europeans are not too happy about Elon's political activities as well, as Elon has been trying to get involved in European politics as well. There's several groups in Europe that are putting out these kind of guerrilla ads, and they're actually kind of funny. This one says goes from 0 to 1939 in 3 seconds. The swastika. These are various posters that were put up on the subway in London, like this. And then in the US, there's all these people who bought Teslas who obviously are not happy with being associated with Elon, and they have put these stickers on their car to try to explain themselves, as some of them are embarrassed of driving Teslas. And this was pretty humorous, actually. There's a guy that has a Cybertruck, and this is kind of a neat feature. I don't know how he did this, but maybe he could put a short throw projector on the back of his Cybertruck. I don't know how he's doing this, actually. It's pretty ingenious. Somehow he's projecting this stuff onto the tailgate of his Cybertruck. But anyway, obviously he is trying to distance himself from Musk as well by doing this. And there's a bunch of Tesla owners that are rebadging their Teslas to look like Mazdas or Hondas or Audis or something like that. Anyways, for various reasons, most likely, because I mean that this is the only explanation that we can have for Tesla's sales decline, is one, competition from Chinese EVs, two, the toxicity of Elon's political positions to some segment of his customer base. Um, so those two things are driving Tesla sales down and then driving Tesla stock down significantly. So there has been this very precipitous decline, especially today, Monday, March 10th. The other thing is Canoo, as you remember, went bankrupt a few weeks ago. And if you guys have been following this channel, you know that I bought Canoo stock several months ago. I think a year ago. I thought that maybe they were going to turn the corner. Well, as I've said repeatedly on this channel, you should never take any investment advice from me because it goes badly. I bought Canoo stock that is currently worth zero. What is more interesting and somewhat frightening is that currently Anthony Aquila, he was the CEO of Canoo that basically led them into bankruptcy. He was at the helm when they went into bankruptcy, and he was widely panned for having Tesla pay him for use of his private jet that he flew in. And then now he is offering to purchase substantially all of the assets for $4 million. So he's essentially buying the entire company, which he himself bankrupted, for $4 million. That includes all of their factories, their equipment, their intellectual property, just everything that used to be theirs. He is offering to buy it for $4 million. The trustees of the bankruptcy wrote in a filing that the best course of action would be to proceed with the sale to Aquila for $4 million. The trustee cited a number of reasons for this, such as lack of financing currently available to support EV manufacturing. He wrote that the failure of other startups like Fisker and Nikola, though he did not name them specifically, has produced a glut of EV-related assets that are available at fire sale prices. He wrote that Canoo's estate does not have the money to cover rent, security costs, and insurance and maintain the integrity of the assets. So he's saying that basically that's probably the best price they're going to get is $4 million. And if they don't sell it to this guy for $4 million, the factory and the equipment will probably be vandalized. They cannot insure them or secure them. And so they should offload them as soon as possible for $4 million, which seems like a ridiculously low price for the assets. So I haven't been following this story too closely, but I would never trust this guy. I mean, he did not run it well, and now he's buying up the assets at fire sale prices. Seems a little shady to me. Okay, tell me what you guys think about that. Next, what's interesting is Rivian has made its first quarterly gross profit last quarter. And so they made a gross profit of $170 million in the fourth quarter, with $110 million coming from the automotive business and $160 from the software business. Now, what is the difference between gross profit and net profit or net income? Gross profit is the profit they make after paying off the cost of goods, not their total cost, not their total operational cost. So this is not paying for their employees. This is not paying for their rents. This is not paying for their leases. This is not their R&D costs or their engineering costs. This is just the cost of materials and the cost of running the factories. So if you take that out, they did make a profit. However, if you take into account the cost of their other employees and the leases and R&D and all that other stuff, they had a net loss of $743 million. So they're still losing money. They're losing a lot less money though, because their fourth quarter loss in 2023 was $1.5 billion. So they lost $1.5 billion. They only lost $0.7 billion. and they actually made a gross profit. So as now they are still they're making profit for every car they sell at this point. The more cars they sell, the more profit they make, and therefore their total net loss can be decreased, and maybe at some point it'll flip to a net income. But that is a huge milestone for them. So props to Rivian for becoming only the second EV company to make a gross profit. Now, as of now, there's only one EV company that's made a net income or net profit. That's Tesla. But Rivian has made a milestone. Okay, so here's the other company that I bought stock in, which that stock has not gone to zero, but it is extremely close to zero. It's $2.08. Peter Rawlinson, who has been their CEO and founder for like 12, 13 years, has stepped down as CEO of the company. He remains on as an advisory role. Peter Rawlinson struck me as a very smart guy, very well-spoken, a true engineer. I really loved his tech talks about Lucid. But it seems like he really could not lead them to production. I mean, I think the engineering and the design of the Lucid cars is amazing, and which is why I bought their stock. I think that technologically they're very, very good. They just were not good at marketing, and were not good at production, and not good at the business side of the whole thing. They're staying afloat because the Sovereign Investment Fund, the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, is basically backing them, and that has the PIF has a huge amount of money. So I don't think that they're going to let Lucid go under. But Lucid is probably 15 years behind Tesla and a good 5 years behind Rivian in terms of production. Rivian is now producing at scale, and they are profitable in their production line. Lucid is not producing at scale yet. They've only produced 10,000 cars, and well, I mean that is some kind of scale, but not a lot of scale. And they're still losing money. They don't have a gross income yet. They're losing money with each vehicle that they make. Still, it costs them more to make the vehicle than they sell it for. So not great, but I still have hope. I haven't sold my stock in them. One, because the stock I own in them now is worth so little, it's just not even worth selling. And two, I'm holding out hope that this Gravity is going to turn it around for them. The Gravity seems like a awesome car. Again, very well engineered and designed, and 75% of the Gravity orders are new to the brand, so they are getting new customers. So I think that is great, and I'm hoping they're going to turn it around. And the fact that Tesla has become kind of a little bit of a persona non grata for many EV enthusiasts makes it better for Rivian and Lucid, because they become kind of alternatives, palatable alternatives. Now, they are also competing with a lot of legacy automakers. Obviously, Hyundai and Kia make really great EVs. So Hyundai and Kia EVs are doing well, and a lot of the other legacy automakers are getting into the EV space. And of course, they know how to scale production. They've been doing it for decades. All right, so a lot of interesting things happening in the EV space. Which of these things do you think is the most interesting story? Is it Tesla's sales and their stock cratering? What do you guys think Tesla stock is going to do? Do you think they're going to turn it around, or do you think that this is just the beginning of an even more significant decline? I personally think that they're going to go down even more. Of course, I'm not going to short them because that would be a dumb move on my part. And knowing my track record, I would probably lose money on that bet. But I think that they're headed down further, because I think sales are going to continue to crater. There are substantially equivalent competitors to Tesla. There's cars that are just as good for similar prices, And I think that a large segment of the EV customer base is going to move towards those, um, just because the politics in the U.S. and the world have become so polarized. That's just the way that things are working out. And then this Tony Aquila guy, super shady, seems like to me. And buying all of the assets of a company for $4 million after essentially driving them into the ground just doesn't feel right to me. Um, and then Rivian basically is doing well. I think they're gonna make it. They're making. I'm seeing more and more Rivians out there on the street. They seem to have they seem to be getting to production and knowing how to make it profitable. So that's good. Lucid, I'm just really hoping that this Gravity is gonna be the turnaround for them. Otherwise, I think if Gravity does not pan out, I think they're headed out. They're not going to make it too much longer because even a fund as large as Saudi Arabia's public investment fund is not going to fund them forever. They're not gonna keep losing billions of dollars a year and keep funding them. All right, let me know what you guys think about the different EV stories. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everyone.